Good evening, familia. This is Ray Collazo, and you're watching Bomba Live, the show you've been waiting for. Thank you so much. Subscribe to Bomba Live on YouTube for the show you've been waiting for your whole life. And again, if this is like, your cousin finally told you about Bomba Live and you're so excited, you're like, wow, this show's unbelievable, but you only have it once a week. What's the problem? So I got two things for you. This week, we have a bonus episode. Because let me tell you, there's obviously a lot of very serious things happening in our world. And we talk about a lot of heavy stuff in the show, from politics to personal development to mental health. Today's not one of those shows, familia. Today we're gonna laugh, we're gonna smile, we're gonna spend time with family. This is not only a conversation with one of the great artists and animators of our time that I'm really so proud to introduce to so many of you, the Bomba Live community. But this is really a conversation with my real, my West Coast crew, my West Coast homies. And a few of them, you'll be meeting another real special member of that family, one of my dear brothers, in a second as well. But, this one really is for the creators, fam. This is for people that are grinding it out, whether you're a podcaster, a musical artist, a blogger, a painter, an artiste, and you're just trying to get your creative juices out there. You're trying to get someone to hear you, and you often wonder, is this all worth it? Me grinding it out, making these videos and doing these TikToks and writing this book and trying to create a legacy for myself. This man is really, this great friend of mine is really a testament to the power of perseverance. And he is now, his voice and the voices in his head, as you're going to find out in a second, are being heard more and more in a very special way, with a very special premiere tomorrow, chiming in all the way from, I think it's West Covina, California. One of my dearest buddies, Jim Lujan. What's up, Pop?
What's up, man? Yes, West Covina, not East Covina. West
not North Covina.
No, of course not.
That's right. So let me go behind the curtain here, fam, that we had a time that we were going to start recording. And true to form, Jim and our other guests we're going to bring on in a second, early, they're ready to go. But of course, we needed 10 minutes because the Puerto Rican woman needed 10 minutes. Of course, Jim's amazing wife, Leanne, she needed to spend time with her hubby before she went to go do what she had to do. So guess what? Me and our other guests said, no problem. And we found something because in no way are we going to go, when Leanne needs 10 minutes, we need 10 minutes. So much respect to Leanne, a wonderful person.
Ray says that when Leanne can't hear him,
and also I'm saying that when my Puerto Rican wife is not too far away. So if Michelle needs 10 minutes, she surely gets it. Jim, we're so excited because this is not one of these episodes where I got all kind of detailed notes and outlines. I do want to talk about this project and a little bit about your creative process. But it is such a special moment to announce that your latest project, The Full Fungus, which is your, feature-length animated crime comedy movie, full-length movie, fan premieres on the premieres you can see on the screen on Animation Plus Network, which y'all get on your Roku boxes. This Friday, March 21st, I believe
Samsung TV.
But everybody we know, everybody watches Bomba Live got a Roku, so don't worry about that. So we're going to talk about The Full Fungus. I watched it earlier this weekend, and it is just fantastic. And really, if you're new to the Jim Lujan experience, I encourage you to not only check out his YouTube page, but check out The Full Fungus this Friday night on Animation Plus, because it is really your opus. Jim, congratulations. And welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show, brother.
Thank you. It's been a while, right?
Yeah, it has. In a moment, you're gonna hear from one of the stars of The Full Fungus, actor, singer, rock on tour, sports fanatic. My Cuban brother Nissim Leon is going to join us in a second to talk about his experience with the show, and we'll talk about our friendship and crack some jokes. And at the end of the show, I'll ask Nissim to give us a little rundown on the LA sports scene, which is always one of our favorite topics here, talking to the Deportes. But Jim, let's just start with this, brother. Tell us a little bit about The Full Fungus. This is your latest work. As you told me when you sent me the private link so I could get a chance to look at it earlier this weekend, it is a real movie, brother. It is a full-length movie.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the full fungus.
Yes, thank you, Ray. And by the way, Nissim doesn't go by Nissim Leon anymore. He's just Nissim, like Cher or
I
Madonna.
thought I was grandfathered in because I've
Or
known Nissan for quite some
I
time,
guess
but I
so.
did notice. It was funny you say that because I did notice that in the credits that he was
Yeah,
just Nissan. I
he's
think
just
that's very cool.
Nissim. It's a brand.
No
Um,
doubt.
the full fungus. Thank you. Well, when I started out making the full fungus, I had the rough idea for what it was about, and as I started fleshing it out, it became this big grand drama. I always knew it was going to be a feature, but I thought it was going to be like a 60-minute film. And something happened along the way where it just kept growing and growing, and the story kept getting more and more, and it needed to be as long as the movie is. A lot of editing, believe it or not, because I probably could have made a 3-hour movie, but it was a labor of love. There was never a time when I was creating this, Ray, where I wanted to quit. It was fun. But editing it and doing the audio mixing, that was the hellish labor.
It's interesting. I learned so much not only about your work and you, Jim, being your friend and keeping a close eye on the content you've been producing over the years, but you teach me about the genre. And when I was reading a write up, a very positive review we got from an outlet in the UK about the premiere, it referred to you as sort of upholding and continuing the tradition of LA noir, that animated genre. So can you tell me a little bit about our viewers here and our listeners here on Bomba Live, a little bit about LA noir genre and animation, and kind of a little bit about your style?
When I read that, to be honest, I thought LA noir was a cologne, but once I realized it was
my new French word of the day.
Yeah, I don't know. I seem to, if anybody ever goes back and looks at my shorts and the films and things I've done, I seem to kind of dip out of the same bucket a lot, which is LA, because I am from LA, but I like, obviously, this, I like seedy characters, hence you're one of my best friends, so is Nissim. So but I don't know, I just, the noir part came naturally because it is a crime story, and then I come from a humorous perspective, and it also comes from the music too, Ray, because this film, I said I wanted to do like a jazz soundtrack, so it kind of all came together, and it just built this. It is very LA modern noir. Somebody gave me the comparison to the Big Lebowski kind of, and that's exactly kind of where my mindset was when this was created. But yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a story that is traditional in ways, but very untraditional and unconventional in other ways. Like the characters are definitely unconventional. My characters in any other film would be the henchmen or the side guys, but those are my leads.
Yeah,
and I like
Chino Diamond and the legendary Mink Fungus
yes.
is in many ways the center of this story. And you touched in your description all the areas I want to explore a little bit more with you, Jim. The darkness of your humor and kind of your style, LA, and that's one of the things I love about it. I learn and really feel like, even though it's animation, like I'm part, I feel part of LA and learn more about LA with your works. The music, which is such a big part of it. Sports, there's even some interesting sports tie-ins,
yeah,
which we'll talk a bit about, Nissim. So all of that is part of it. Jim, we're going to show the trailer for the full Fungus here. Why don't you tee this up and tell people a little bit about kind of the a little teaser about the story of the full Fungus, which people can see again on Friday on Animation Plus, starting
the
Friday.
Full Fungus is
Roku
about
boxes.
The Full Fungus is about, the reason why it's called The Full Fungus is it's about a missing piece of music by this jazz legend, the late Mink Fungus. And some people don't even believe that this music exists. They think it's a fable, and other people have searched their whole lives like the Holy Grail. But this music actually ends up in the hands of Mink's son. and the mob is out to get him and get the music. And then there's this detective named Chino Diamond that is kind of caught in the middle of all of this. So that's kind of what the story's about. And there's about 2,000 or 3,000 other characters in the movie. So a lot going on, including a professional bowler named the Gopher Snake. So there's just a lot.
You always incorporate the sports in a very interesting way. Let's watch this trailer. We'll come back with Jim Lujan, the creative mind, producer, director, writer, actor, singer of the Full Fungus, and our great friend and who was a big part of the cast of the Full Fungus, Nissim, will be joining us as well on Bomba Live, the show you've been waiting for. Let's watch and listen to this trailer for the Full Fungus Familia.
My name is Chino Diamond. I'm a private eye. My father used to say there are 2 types of people in the world, greedy and stupid. Well, there's a third, greedy and stupid and dangerous. Shut up. It's a missing piece of music. I think might be right up your alley. What do you know about the Full Fungus?
Well, let me stop you right there. It's a myth. Doesn't exist. If it did, somebody would have found it by now.
You think you're the first private eye to come looking for the Full Fungus tapes?
Wilt's been missing for almost a month now. It's not like him.
All right, enough games. You want the truth? Here we go.
Larry Carlisle, you know, the game show host? He's hired me to find his missing son-in-law.
Larry Carlisle?
That guy's a douche.
Say, would you look at that?
Every answer leads to a new question. Every question leads to a line. My name is Chino Diamond. I'm a private eye.
Of course, I put everybody on mute. Welcome back to Bomba Live, the show you've been waiting for. That was, of course, the trailer for the Full Fungus, which you can check out on Animation Plus starting on March 21st, 10 p.m. Eastern. Everyone who has a Roku Box, Samsung TV can check this out, and we encourage people to check this out. This is actually, it's interesting, Jim. This is a very big deal for Animation Plus. This is sort of their foray into full-length, featuring full-length animation independent theater movies. So just really excited. Congratulations to you. Of course, we have on the screen not just People Magazine Sexiest Man Alive 1982, of course, but one of the stars and one of the voices, literally and figuratively, of the Full Fungus, our great friend, the Cuban Lion, and as Jim corrected me, simplemente Nissim. Nissim, ¿cómo le va, chico?
Que me cuentan, how we doing? Jim Lujan, Los Angeles personified.
There's no question about it.
Yeah, baby.
Now Nissim, for those diehard Bomba Live watchers and people that have followed my career, my content over many years, have remember our foray into sports, Latino sports talk, and Cubano pops up here and there with our sports conversations. But a lot of you people who are outside the LA area may not realize is that Nissim is a passionate singer. It's one of his great passions, karaoke singer. You'll find him in his living room or any karaoke spot around LA. And it turns out, Nissim, you've been collaborating with Jim and his projects, not only as a voiceover talent, but as a singer for a while now, brother. So tell us about that experience.
You know what? 1991, Jim and I met through his cousin Mike. Mike was my neighbor for 20 some odd years. Really one of my best friends, and introduced me to Jimmy. I had just gone through like a breakup and all kinds of stuff. I needed stuff to do, man.
I was his rebound.
That's right. Jim was the rebound.
Slam bam, thank you, man. You know.
Yeah, we started making music, and we started doing the cartoons. But we have songs that are 34 years old, man.
Yeah.
And,
including the theme song for the Full Fungus. There's a
what
song
did we say?
called
97, Jim?
I think 98 or 97.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
my son wasn't born.
Right.
He was born in 99. So, and Chris is 25 now. So we have music going back a while. And I always remember some of the funniest stuff was, I would talk to my folks at the time and they would tell me, oh, so what are you doing? Oh, I'm doing these songs for this cartoon with Jimmy. And they started meeting Jimmy and they liked Jimmy. And I remember we were like 20 years into it. And my mom goes, oye, tú nada más vas a estar haciendo muñequitos con Jimmy y no te van a pagar. You're just going to be making these little cartoons with Jimmy and they're not going to pay you. and the funniest thing is nobody understands unless you've been around Jimmy that you ain't got to get paid, man. You're having a blast.
Oh, absolutely.
Doing
Absolutely.
this.
Absolutely.
And it actually checked off so many boxes with me. I got to go and have fun, sing, be creative, and try and making songs that there was no pressure. It's not like, hey man, we're trying to write this next hit, so I need everybody to be serious. No, man, we're trying to write the goofiest, funniest thing. If it made you laugh, we were trying to do it.
Yeah, we were writing for ourselves too. Like we would record so many songs that we were the two biggest fans of and the only fans.
And if nobody else liked it, we didn't give a rat's ass. It didn't matter.
So Jim, what's so incredible about talents like you is that it's one thing to just draw the shit. And now in the modern age with the, computers design them, the animation. It's one thing to write and develop the concept of the characters. But it's a whole other thing, and for people to know, it's a whole other thing, right? Music and produce music. So talk to us about why the music is so central to your movies and to your projects.
There was a time when I thought I wanted to be a music producer, probably right out of high school. I got a job at a recording studio. I worked with a guy named Stephen Bray, who was Madonna's bandmate in the
Okay.
Yeah. When I say I worked with him, I mean I worked at his studio for a very short time. A very nice guy. But I realized just the atmosphere of the studio and the seriousness of the studio. Studio time costs a lot of money. Something clicked in my head and I thought, this is not what I want to do. I don't want this environment. I want to be able to create first and then worry about what happens with it. I wanted to make something. Mm-hmm. So I kind of reevaluated, and there was also live action film was an interest. And that's actually when Nissim and I met. I don't even know if I was doing the cartoons when we met. I don't think I was. I wanted to be a live action filmmaker. And I soon realized that wasn't going to work because you had to actually have actors. And they had to show up and stuff. So all the while, I'm making music with Nissim the whole time. We were writing songs, multiple songs in one sitting.
So the music came before the animation. I didn't know that. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. Nissim, how is that? Let me if I can have jump. So now this begs the question, Nissim. So Nissim, talk to us about, first of all, it's one thing to just collaborate with someone making music. That's a whole other in and of itself. But making music to correlate to characters in a production, in a movie, in a project, how is it working with an artist like Jim that's got all of these elements incorporated into the music? Because that's wow. I mean, that's a different process than just working with a music producer.
So that's a different sort of freedom that you got, man, when you're making music like that. First of all, we have music that doesn't sound like any other song that we made or something and then there's 20 songs that sound exactly like every one of the 20 we made.
Yeah.
And that's the cool part. Plus two, I think what ends up happening is, and Jimmy, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I really think that at times we had written all these songs and it's ooh, if Jimmy says, if I made a movie about this and we can put that song in there.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So sometimes I know Jimmy would say, when he said, he goes, hey, I'm going to use Together in Bed in this movie. That was
Okay.
30 some
30
odd
years ago.
25 years
What a
ago or something.
process.
And we're using it, right?
Yeah, and it's
and
in
when
the
I say
film. It's
we,
an oldie. In the
I
film.
mean that really loosely. I want everybody to know this is Jim. Like, we have Charlie Rossman, who's amazing.
Yeah, we were going to shout out some of the cast members. Charlie Rossman, a great friend, and by the way, whose son pitched for the Phillies briefly, pitched for Israel and WBC. He's had a great career in baseball.
Bubby, man, he is an absolute stud. If somebody
Bobby
in
Rossman, look
MLB
him
was
up, fam.
smart, they
Bubby
would pick
Rossman.
him up, man.
Go look
He
up
is
Bubby
an
Rossman.
excellent reliever. Huh?
Bubby Rossman.
Well, I remember watching WBC. I'm like, why don't they use him more? He came in and blew through gas and shut everybody down. I'm like, they could have used this guy a few more innings. But no, Charlie and the Rossman family are fantastic. Jim, you know, the other thing that that struck me watching it is that I knew about your music piece. I knew about LA, and I do want to get back to the LA piece.
Did you know about his hair piece?
it's the best in the business.
Or my herpes.
You know, I mean, you know, but you know, there's some incredible musical and television references. You really have an appreciation for that history, not just music and not just television, not just Hollywood, but the history of those genres. So do you think, I mean, are you doing research? I mean, because you really kind of mirror some dynamics of some incredible, you know, I could see the influences in the characters of some musical legends, some television legends, some Hollywood legends of the 60s, 70s. So is that something, or is that just things you picked up along the way?
Everything that you think that was genius on purpose in this film was. And even if I don't know what you're talking about exactly, I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
But,
and Leanne just told you what to do, right? That's what I figured. You know,
you know what? Honestly,
you have to have an appreciation for that history to incorporate the way you did.
I think Jimmy's super knowledgeable about things that make him tick.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, and so it becomes easy. Like, we can have conversations about 50s bands or 50s comedians, and it's fantastic.
Or 50 Cent.
Or 50 Cent.
In the club.
Which I saw the other day was really cool, man. He was in a panaderia, and they asked him what he was eating, and he said, I'm eating a concha. Seeing 50 Cent saying he's eating a concha was one of the coolest things ever.
You see he's got his son who's like a college kid walking around with him all chiseled like him. They're just like, you know, twins.
Ray, to answer your question, yes, but I'm about being like studying things but it's usually I'm a very good observer. I'm the youngest of 5. So I've learned to observe to survive. And I'm a good observer. I'm not a great listener, but I'm a good observer, and I can mimic things pretty well. That's why I started music, because I'm not a great musician. I can just mimic things really well, or make something sound real. Like, oh, that sounds real. So a lot of these
sums up Diddy's musical career. You know?
Well, there's a lot of things I have in common with Diddy, but we'll go there later.
That's a whole separate episode.
Yes, it is. Yeah. That won't be on an animation plot.
No, but yeah. So I mean, I think little moments that you're talking about in the film. Yeah, there's things that pay homage, and there's things that borrow from different. Like, for example, this is ridiculous, but I'm a huge Stanley Kubrick fan, and that's a big influence on me. But yet, if you watch my films, you're like, what? No.
Like, is this like Vanilla Ice borrowing from Queen and David Bowie?
Exactly.
That type of borrowing?
Exactly.
Nissim, you know, one of the things I love about watching Jim stuff is that, and I've talked about it on the show, that one of the great goals I had in my life was to have connections and you know, have some little piece of the LA experience. Mm-hmm. And I tell people, now obviously, you know, my dad, who was a radio announcer, and my mother, my family are big influences in doing this. Obviously, without my dad, I wouldn't be doing this. But you know, I hearken back to, and Nissim, you can particularly appreciate this, is that even though he was a Shirley character, he's actually kind of, I actually He's actually kind of been interestingly back out in the media, I think, in a very interesting way, Barry Bonds. But one of the things that always struck me about Barry Bonds is talking about how he played for Willie, he played for Bobby, you know, his dad and his godfather, who was Willie Mays. And so I always think about, like, I play for my dad, I play for my mom in terms of doing this. But you know what? Number one, I do it for Johnny Carson. Because Johnny Carson was the greatest. I don't care. He'll always be the GOAT. Because all these people that do it now in the modern day, you know, the Jimmy Fallons, the Jimmy Kimmels, all the white guys named Jimmy, the Conans, they're all Colbert, they're all great. I have nothing against them. I enjoy all of them. They all do great work, but they're all nerds. And Johnny Carson was the coolest guy of all times, as well as a great comic. So I'm saying this to say that I've always been obsessed with old Hollywood and learning about LA. So Nissim, talk to me about the grittiness, because Jim doesn't give you a sweet Hollywood looking version of LA. He gives you the what LA sometimes tried to hide from the rest of us. So talk to us about the realness of Jim's LA in animation.
Well, I just think that first of all, like we were talking, Jim is very nostalgic, and like I said, he could go back, you know, even before his time. And LA is rich in history. And then within Los Angeles, you have places like Boyle Heights, where I grew up, where his dad grew up, that are very unique to themselves.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Echo Park, Silver Lake, very unique to themselves. And then I think the proximity to Hollywood makes them super interesting places, but yet a very urban feel, because you got all these Latinos living there, and now, you know, you got the hipsters, and it's getting gentrified, and so it's changing. So there is that very dark part to Los Angeles. Jim is good at putting that on paper.
Yes.
And making you see it through that sort of lens. And one of the things, again,
low key gives Black LA a lot of props too. Low key. That's another piece of it.
Yeah, and so that's why, like, it's easy, like, I want to hang out with someone who I believe is very, very talented, and I get to just be part of it and be part of the ride. And you know, our friendship has been wonderful. There are times where all we do is go grab a bite to eat, and we laughed our asses off for 3 hours. That's sort of this. When we were recording you know, my Ernesto parts, we were dying at his house making it and making the movie. It was amazing. Again, all the years that we sat at his house, him coming to my house, me going to Jimmy's parents' house and being in the garage.
Well, no, what about South Pasadena
That was great, because we were a hop, skip, and a jump away from.
Well, I used to live in South Pasadena. He'd come over and we would record it in the closet, in the walk-in closet.
That's how it is.
Yeah, my neighbors thought
I've been there.
Being murdered there one time.
Jim, you know, you're literally one of the best human beings that I know, and I say that not just to give you your love and your flowers, but also I'm mentioning that because where all this dark shit comes from, I have no idea. You're the nicest guy I know, and then these movies are like all this dark humor, all this street stuff going on. So, where does this come from, Pop? Because I don't see any of this in you.
I will tell you. You know, they say opposites attract. Well, in ways, Nissim and I, we're not opposites, but Nissim, when you meet Nissim in 5 minutes, you're like, oh my God, this guy is wild, this guy's crazy. But Nissim has so much depth. So many things that people.
So you're blaming Nissim for your dark side?
You would never know Nissim's in things he's into. We're not going to talk about Baby O, but things that he's into that you would never.
Not illegal.
But people would easily underestimate Nissim. His knowledge of obscurity just is awesome. It's great. And then I think with me, they look at me and they go, "Oh, he looks like a normal guy," but inside, I'm a Nissim. Like,
I hear what you're saying.
Like that Demi Moore movie where they crawl out of the back, you know, we both, that's kind of how we bonded, because we both like really obscure references of these weird things that you think we wouldn't be into, you know,
like Shalimar,
Kaja Gugu.
Right.
You know?
If Kosher Gugu opened up for Shalimar, we would be there.
There
Yeah.
you go. That's an interesting vector. Jim, you know, the other Nissim, the other thing is talk about, like, obviously you and I, Nissim, are you know, we wear our sports fandom on our chest here, literally in sleeve. But you know, low key, Jim is quite a knowledgeable sports fan and is good at analyzing sports. So I love how you incorporate sports in it too.
Mhm.
So talk to me about that, to both of you. I mean,
I grew up.
It's really cool, and it's actually
loving-
in the full fungus. It's kind of the center.
I grew up.
And multiple sports are centered in this movie.
Boxing and basketball were my jams growing up. I love those. And then a little bit of football too. But Nissim is like, sports is running in his veins, you know, 24/7. So a lot of the sports conversations that I used to like to get into with Nissim was more like a learning you know, a teachable moment where I would just soak up, because he knows everything about sports. But yeah,
is a really cool twist, and I love.
Yeah, we could talk boxing though. I think that's probably why I know that.
Oh, maybe we'll get into that at the end of the show. We're talking to two of my dearest brothers, Jim Lujan, the mastermind behind the Full Fungus, which is a full-length animated crime comedy, which you can see is a real movie, fam. Got twists and turns, make you laugh, make you cry. I really enjoyed watching it over the weekend. And you're going to be able to watch this exclusively. It premieres on Animation Plus. Fam, this is one of those free Roku apps. Just download Animation Plus on your Roku box or your Samsung TV. This Friday, March 21st, it debuts, premieres 10 p.m. Eastern. But check it out. You got to download your Animation Plus app on your Roku box so you can check out the Full Fungus. You're not going to regret it. We're going to take a quick break. We come back. We'll talk a little bit more.
You might regret it.
Well,
you might.
No, you won't regret that. Maybe hanging out with us, you'd regret.
You'll be angry at yourself.
Not watching the Full Fungus. We'll come back. We'll talk more about dear homies, my LA buds, here on Bomba Live, the show you've been waiting for. After you watch this clip, which will be very, very harken back to the conversation we had before we started taping.
Do we have the Ricky Martin picture? We gotta show it. Come on, fam. We gotta show it. All right, Dios mío, look at that. Come on, Ricky and Betty, tell us this story, my friend.
Ricky Martin, Ruben. Actually, Sweet Sensation was on tour with Menudo for a minute. Okay. Cover Girls were on tour. It was Cover Girls, Sweet Sensation, Menudo at the time. This is right before Ricky left the group. That's Ruben right next to him, I believe. Yeah. So, yeah, we had so much fun being on tour with Menudo. Now, meanwhile, talk about surreal. I was 14 years old with my best friend from across the street, Sonia, you know, scoping out all the hotels that Menudo was in because I was a big Menudo fan. I love Menudo. I still love Menudo. I can sit here and be like, Súbete a mi moto. I know all the songs. I have belt buckles and I have the jackets, and I loved Miguel from Menudo, was my favorite until I fell in love with Johnny. So I know all about the Menudo stuff.
Welcome back to Bomba Live. The show you've been waiting for. That clip was, of course, our dear friend, one of our freestyle queens, Betty D from Sweet Sensation, and Christina Vega, one of our co-hosts, was also featured in that clip. And she was talking about her time collaborating and touring with Ricky Martin and Menudo. I don't know who you're a bigger fan of, Nissim, Sweet Sensation or Menudo. It's hard for me to guess in my mind. It's a coin flip. There's
probably going to go with Sweet Sensation.
Yeah.
If you're asking me about that genre, I'm more of like a lime taps type of guy.
Although, if you're talking about the food menu, though.
Well, every weekend,
that's true. That's
right.
This is see.
So
we're playing checkers.
Right,
Jim's playing 3-dimensional chess. There's no question about it in this conversation.
Right now, I could tell you this, man. You either want to go to Tommy's, and I'm not talking about the cheeseburgers in Monterey Park, El Pescador, Highland Park, or Mr. Menudo Oficial. That used to be a truck in Compton, but now it's a big restaurant in Downey.
Oh, so very cool. Very cool.
Top 3 Menudo places to me.
Compton, known for Kendrick Lamar and Menudo.
Absolutely. So, that brings up another thing, Jim. We're talking about the Full Fungus and your content. You always incorporate the food in an interesting way.
Yeah, that kind of. Yeah, I don't know where that comes.
It comes into play.
Yeah,
there was a couple scenes in venues, restaurants.
Yeah.
It's important for you in search of your your scenery,
Yeah, bars, restaurants, sometimes strip clubs,
hookers,
nightclubs.
Oh no, I'm
just
sorry.
describes Nissim's life. But yeah, you know what? It's funny. It's I guess a lot of movies that I enjoy have conversations in bars and restaurants and things like that. Yeah, I probably should branch out a little bit.
Nissim, how fulfilling it is for you to have watched Jim's process, because, I really admire people, creatives like him, that really have just gone for it, and I'm so glad now he's continuing to see, because you've had other projects and done stuff with Bill Plimpton and featured at Comic-Con. So this is not your moment. This is one of many moments you've had in your career.
Thank you.
Isn't it so satisfying, Nisa, to see him grind it out and be where he's at today?
Absolutely,
it's been really,
man. Jimmy is a guy, man, that never cared about anything. He just wanted to do his thing. And he's such a dear friend. Like, you root that this is going to happen, man, that something fantastic is going to happen, because he's such a great dude. And so the very personal, I guess, selfish part of me that I love him so much, I want to see him do well.
100%.
But I'm also able to step back and just know that this guy's a genius. And what he does is amazing, dude.
100%.
Like, 100%. Animation Plus got lucky on this one.
No
and
doubt
I'm just
about it.
being honest, man, because this guy knows what he's doing. And if people tune in and watch, they're going to get hooked on Jim Lujan stuff. They just are. It's that good.
My only critique of Jim's content, and I've always told this to Jim, I said, I love the animation and the movies, but I love you more. Because I wish he did more with you, social media. I've had friends that have gone to Comic-Con in San Diego, and you've been on panels there, didn't know nothing about you, and just said, this guy went on the panel, which is so hilarious. He's like a stand-up comedian. He rocked out, everybody's dying. He's like, oh, and then you find at the end, oh, he makes movies too? Oh, that's cool. They just thought you were hilarious.
I know, man.
They wanted to see your next stand-up comedy thing on Netflix kind of thing, So
my personality's so great that it's just everything else is let down. That's what I tell myself.
And how did you connect with Animation Plus, Jim? How did that collaboration happen?
Animation Plus connected with me about 4 years ago. I got a phone call, and the two guys that run Animation Plus were on the phone, and I could tell within a minute and a half of hearing them talk, they really knew what they were talking about. Like, they watched multiple things of my real subtle things they were bringing up, things that you can't just scan really quick and watch. And I realized, oh, they actually enjoy my work. Like both the guys.
Like John, if you're stalking somebody.
Yes. And so through phone call after phone call, we talked a while. They told me about this idea for the channel they had. And I said, that sounds great. Everything I've done with Animation Plus to this point, everything has been, they've delivered, and they've been super kind, and they've been really great to work with, and it's just been really. And you know what, Nissim said this earlier. I have done this when nobody watches. I would do this if there was no audience. I would still make these films. I would do something creative, but it feels really good to like know that this huge back catalog that I have has an outlet for more eyeballs to see. Because it's interesting seeing the different reactions of people who haven't seen my stuff ever. And there is a big old catalog of stuff because I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed making. Nissim will testify. There's never been a project where we've made where it's a pain in the ass.
No, plus, you know what? For lack of a better word, Jim's not a vendido, dude. Not a sellout.
That's right.
He only does shit he likes.
That's right.
Right? And I know that people will be like, oh, well, that's selfish. No, it's quite the opposite. This guy's been offered things, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't want to do that."
That's right.
I don't want to.
We've had
do
those
that.
conversations.
No, did
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing that he came up 3 times already.
If you say it one more time, he'll actually show up.
Oh God, no. Let's start talking about Luigi, his bunkmate. Jim, what else? What's something else you would like the audience to know about this work? What it meant to you, the process.
So
what else is important for people to know especially that are new to your work?
Okay, well,
they're going to watch this on
is
Friday night.
Where you put the inspirational music behind what I say. But if somebody has a project they want to do one day, I always say don't wait. For one, figure out a way to start the project and figure out a way to finish the project. And also, to the young childrens out there, I say, you can sit and wonder, you can sit and ponder, but you can't sit yonder. You must find a way and enlighten yourself as well as enlighten others, brother.
Your wish is my command, brother.
No, just do the damn thing. I mean, we all know people that have had a script for 11 years and they're still working on it.
Yeah.
And they're afraid to share stuff. We all know people that, man, you talk about, okay, a learning lesson from my friend, dear friend Nissim. He'll go on stage like that. Like there's no like, no, I can't. I'm not wearing the right jacket. You know,
yeah.
He'll just do it because he has a love for singing, performing, you know, acting the, for lack of a better word, fool. No, there's no better word than that. But Nissim just goes for it and does it. And I think on a creative level, that's how I am. Like when I start a project, I'll go for it. I don't freeze or ice the kicker.
No, and I think part of it is he's just trying to humor himself. Yeah. Like he's just trying to make himself laugh. How do we do this? And it's such a neat gift. Like when we're writing songs, it's never like, hey, I can't take this no more. This is going to be the last one. No, man, we're just having a good time.
Sometimes when others won't humor you, you have to humor yourself.
Oh, that sounds dirty, man.
Before we wrap this up, we got to talk a little sports. These are my sports guys.
Yes.
We were talking, I think Dodgers open hours from now in the Far East. Nissim, I know, you know, the march towards another championship is just beginning for the Dodger Blue. So I know you're excited. You guys are excited about it.
Well, I'm happy they signed Kike. That was my biggest thing.
Claro.
Boricua, but Cuban mother.
Claro que sí.
So, and when I found out, I'll start repping Kike hard.
Yeah,
Anyways, we don't have, outside of, the Paje that's from Pinal del Rio, although they're trying to now say he's from La Habana. And so.
No, I Pinal del Rio guy.
Yeah, he Pinal del Rio, baby, where my dad's from. No, man, excited about the Dodgers. Are we spending money? Yeah, I don't know. Nobody was complaining when Steinbrenner did it.
There's no salary cap. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll take
I just don't like. I just don't like how you guys
again.
usurp the rules with the deferred money. I think that's a little. That's a little borderline to me.
That's what I do with Nissim with these films.
Deferred to 2047. Nissim's gonna be swimming in dough.
You know what, man? You cannot put a price on laughter.
No doubt.
You cannot put a price
about it.
On great friendship.
Right.
And let me tell you something, man. If it wasn't for this guy, like we all wouldn't have met.
That's right.
You know, and it just the value to that.
Jim was the first fan of my podcast that ever emailed me. He was like my third fan, and the first one I ever communicated that he was a fan. And we've all been friends ever since. And no, it's been one of the great blessings of my life. Literally 12 years.
Yeah, I like natural. I like stuff that's natural. You know, like happens naturally. That's the other thing too. Because then when
Jimmy
it's
is
natural,
very organic.
Yes, and then I think it.
Wait a minute, I got to do the little quote thingies. Where is it?
Oh, organic. Is that what you wanted to say?
Yeah.
But it has more deeper roots when it's like that, I believe. And then, you know, and it's not just good time, happy, sunshine friends. It's, you know, when things are rough and hard, that's when you really find out who your friends are.
Absolutely. You know? And we both had very rough times.
Mm-hmm.
And we've always been there for each other.
Yeah.
And we're still here. And I again, cannot put a price on it.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is what makes it really tough to let you go, Nissim. That's actually why you're here today.
Yes, I'm actually part of the Full Fungus HR department. We got a conversation. Slip you the letter. Before we wrap this up, Nissim, anything else on the sports you want to talk about? There's always all kind of stuff.
You know what? Could the
MMA,
Lakers have made a better trade?
Well, I mean, you really call that a trade?
No, so
someone
should
have blocked that trade.
You gotta give it to Palinka. You gotta no, you don't. You gotta give it to Nico Harrison.
What a robbery!
Oye,
yeah.
Oye, más estúpido no puede haber.
That's like just sitting in a bar and then like a supermodel comes up to you and says, "Come on, let's go," and then you don't give the guy credit. You're like, he said yes. So.
This was funny, man. So they put something up on IG and said, Luca's father unhappy, and then I said, it'll be fine. They're gonna love it in LA.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, Boricua dude hits me back. He's never gonna win a championship again. He's not gonna like the state tax, and he's gonna realize it. And I was like, so I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, cabron. The Rams won it. I'm not a Ram fan. You know, I'm a Charger fan, but the Rams are in LA. The Rams won it a few years ago. Just what, 4 years ago, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The Dodgers just won it. I don't know, man. That state tax, guys still want to play here.
It's LA. No, and especially the Lakers. That's the glamour franchise in sports.
Que no hay un friazo aquí.
Tax that ass.
You know, really, bro, like, sorry that it's not cold. Yeah. Sorry that, you know, it's warm and it's not raining or something.
LA's LA. It's the cachet.
Yeah, man, it's going to be all right, brother.
He gets Spanish. He's already charmed the fans.
Oh, yeah, but the guy came at me. Hey, Ray.
Pounds in 2 weeks.
The guy came at me and I was like, hey, ¿qué pasó con de un pájaro dos alas, brother? Like,
bro, we live in an upside like that. We're living in an upside down world right now because the dreaded, hated Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett are huge, big on the Lakers right now. I'm like, where did that come from? Like,
that's true. And then they're very bullish on the Lakers.
Yeah, and then it's just really weird. Like, things are strange in a good way in LA right now.
No, look, we lost like 4 in a row, but those all have to do multiple guys with injuries. Let's get it healthy. I know we don't have a big.
It's a long road.
We got a shot though.
Yeah,
you have a shot. You're going to make noise. There's no doubt about it. Look, OKC, they're fantastic, but they're young teams. It's hard to get over the hump, and Denver's still there. But you guys are always competitive with Denver.
Well, don't forget, there's a lot of room to bring in some more supporting cast too.
Oh, the future's bright. There's no question about it.
The league is weird though. The league is weird because the league is like every PE coach's dream right now. It's teamwork. You know, it's not superstar based. It's really teamwork.
Well, and the teams that were set up like that are the failures. The Suns and the Sixers.
Exactly.
So here's one of the things that's amazing. Look, I said the JJ Redick thing. I was at peor en nada. Like, you know, I don't really know what he was going to do. He had never coached.
It was hard to tell. Yeah.
But as of January, I want to say 15th, the Lakers have the best defense in the NBA.
He got him bought in, including LeBron playing defense.
That's including 2 defensive liabilities in Luka and LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
And Reeves.
They're still good players.
Yeah.
Defense is still teachable.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Right? You can't teach a shot. You can't, you know.
You know what you can't teach?
How to play defense.
You know what you can't teach? Karaoke.
There you go.
You can't.
There you go.
Wait, Ray, before we go, can I just slip in one sports opinion I want to get from you?
Sure.
I'm dying to know.
Okay.
What are your thoughts in general on Bud Crawford?
Oh, Bud Crawford's fantastic.
Yeah. Do you think he's the real deal for a long time to come?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to move up significantly to fight Canelo, right? What's he got to move up? 15 pounds or something?
Ray.
He'll give as good a fight as anybody else has.
Let me tell you this.
I love Bud Crawford. It's a shame, you know, he's been a little inactive here, but he's fantastic.
This is the one thing I say we have a prototype for this. And it was a Boricua that was involved.
Yeah.
Roy Jones
and
John the Beast Ruiz gives you some insight. If Canelo can hit Crawford, he's going to knock him out.
Yeah.
But can
But
he
if
hit
he
him?
doesn't,
Right.
if he doesn't, the guy's skilled enough to win that fight. I don't know how that's gonna go, but I want to watch it more than I want to see Canelo Benavidez. Benavidez and his father have no clue, bro. Ain't nobody want to see that fight. And I will tell you this.
Oh, I think people want to see that fight.
Hey, I don't think like they want to see the Crawford fight.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Okay, so sorry that Canelo
that's
took
true.
the
Yeah,
bigger
no, I agree
fight,
with that.
bro. Sorry that Canelo took the bigger fight. I apologize to the Benavidez family.
So is Errol Spence just out right now, or what? What happened?
Let me tell you, that ass kicking.
I don't know.
All right, and I had Errol Spence winning.
I did. I thought he was going to win.
That and the auto accident, that takes a lot out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. So
he's not
the
same.
But I think right now, that's the fight to make in boxing.
100%.
Which will put the most asses in the seats.
No doubt.
And I will tell you this again: Benavidez took care of Morrell. It was a boring fight. Morrell didn't do enough, and I'm a Cuban guy.
Yeah.
But sometimes I have a hard time with la escuela cubana, que no tiramos bastante golpe.
Sí.
Bien bueno defensivamente.
I was surprised. I thought they'd do better, to be honest. I thought it'd be more competitive.
But I will say this: if you think an 11-0 Morrell, right, leaves Benavidez' face the way he did, what do you think Canelo's going to do to him?
Well, the boxing nerds, everyone told me, my boxing guys all said the same thing. That they were like, this shows that he's overrated, or he's not what he thinks he is. So it's a fair point.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
I'm going to use one of my favorite sayings, Ray, that my dad used to say all the time. Si quieres comer pescado, te tienes que mojar el culo. All righty? And Benavidez ain't ready.
Give me one.
Give me a second, Chip. But on the boxing, since we're talking about the boxing, I want to mention this to folks. And the Philly connection is that there's a movement. I think I've shared with you guys. I grew up, practically walking distance from less than a mile from Joe Frazier's legendary gym. And it's actually like a dollar store now, unfortunately. So there's a movement afoot to try to preserve it as like a historical site. And he hasn't owned it since he passed away and everything. So anyway, so just shout out to the folks in Philly that are trying to preserve Joe Frazier's legacy.
Absolutely, man.
Very underrated in historical figure.
Yeah. Would they keep it a dollar store though? If they make
well, I mean, to keep anything, dollar plus, because ain't nothing a dollar anymore.
It would be a dollar store and limpias.
Claro, sí.
So
what
wait,
were you going to say, Licia?
Before we do go as well,
yes.
I want to get who is the fighter to watch in the next 5 years.
Well, I'm going to say Xander Zayas because I'm contractually as a Puerto Rican obligated to say that. But what do you think, Lion? Nissim's more the boxing guy. I mean, I follow him, but not.
I like Inoue like no other, bro. Yeah. I hope that he can move up and fight somebody. They're talking about that kid Ball that just won the other day from England. Yeah. I think he will kick his ass so bad that this guy may never want to fight again. But Inoue is great for boxing. If you've never seen them, you got to stay home on a Tuesday night because that's the only times they're able to fight in Japan, man. Because all the bands are selling out the arena, so they have to look midweek. And then, at the time, it screws around. But I think he's going to be in Vegas this next fight.
What's his nickname? The Beast or the Alien or the Monster?
The Monster.
The Monster, yes.
How
he's going to fight in Vegas? Oh, that's great. The other guy, he's not he's not bad. The other guy I got a shout out is my namesake, Oscar Collazo. And what's great about Oscar Collazo, I think he's already defended his belt 3-4 times, is that he's a minimum weight champion. He's like $105. So he can move up. He could have like 5 titles before he gets the lightweight.
You look at guys like Chocolatito. Claro. You look at Inoue. These guys have moved up. You look at Pacquiao, man, who started at 112, brother.
Look at that.
And he won the 147 title. So I definitely think, and I'm gonna tell you this, super excited about Dana White because they're gonna try to eliminate the I don't want to fight nobody.
Yeah.
I'm tired of that shit, man.
It's gonna be interesting to see what he does.
I come from Hagler Hearns.
Yeah.
Wait, what's he gonna do? How's he gonna do that?
He's in with the Saudis for a boxing league or a boxing, yeah. So it's
called
like
Money
live golf
Gym.
kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, why don't they have like a playoff tree in boxing?
Well, because they're disorganized and they're greedy backwards. It's decentralized.
Well, so I don't know if you saw the other day. It was Suleiman from the WBC talking about, oh, if they're not going to include the WBC, then it's not real. Hey, you don't include the IBF, the WBO. You could have the guy that everybody knows is ranked number 1.
That's right.
Well, because he's not the WBC's guy in their pocket, he's ranked 19th by the
Bottom line is money talks, brother.
Yeah.
It's the bottom line. It's the bottom
Cállate la
line.
boca.
Tiger Woods was the one that was all against Live Golf, and he's the first one that sold out when the chips went down. So it is what it is. Nissim, any final? Jim, final thoughts about this wonderful production, brother, The Full Fungus.
Thank you to all the voice actors in it.
Yes,
Nissim, Charlie Rossman, Deacon Burns, all
Ken
of
Mora, Mike Perez, right?
Mora, yeah. Just lots of folks.
Who was the lady voice? Who was the lady voice?
Malia Kerr played.
Malia Kerr?
She played Brandy Fungus.
She's a fine girl.
Lisa. Oh, by the way, Lisa Huff, who is a Puerto Rican.
That's right.
You got to get her on the show.
Mixologist, I remember Lisa.
Yes, that's right. That's right. She's in the film.
I follow her.
Kaya Rogue is in the film.
Yeah.
Just a lot of great voice actors. Oh yeah, and this guy,
Nisa.
Yeah, and sings
one word. I like it.
Sings the opening and closing songs.
Yes.
And plays a character in it. Thank you, Nissim, for everything.
Bro, my pleasure. Super fun, man.
So I'll just say this. I'm going to do one shameless plug because it's easy. If you just go to jimlujan.com, that takes you to my YouTube page, and you can see my old back catalog. And there's a lot of connections from The Full Fungus to my other films. So there's a whole world that you can explore. But
follow Jim Lujan, family. Follow Jim Lujan.
In life. Just follow me.
Nissim, your Line Cuban is Instagram and Twitter, right? Or X?
Yes, sir.
Line Twitter.
Not on Twitter as much as I used to be because the thing's sort of gone to shit.
Yeah.
But definitely on IG, and I'm putting stuff every weekend. And hit me, man. Just trying to have fun. Like I tell people all the time, if you're coming for serious stuff, I'm not your guy. If you just want to have a good time, I'm your guy. Karaoke, all that stuff. Hey, one thing I want to mention, and if Jimmy was talking about how great karaoke is, before you die, if you ever get to see a chola sing Madonna stuff, it's the greatest thing ever, man. We were at a place one time, and you were hearing, borderline, I'm about to lose my mind. And so if you can go watch that, you're going to be better for it.
I am.
No doubt. What a great way to end this conversation. Jim Lujan, follow Jim Lujan on YouTube. Watch The Full Fungus on Animation Plus. Everyone watching this and listening to this has Roku or Samsung TV. Definitely check it out Friday night.
Yep.
Support Jim Lujan's YouTube
kind of live
page.
Event, Ray, too. Some kind of live YouTube chat thing while it's playing. So look out.
Okay. So definitely follow Jim Lujan, follow his YouTube page, and be part of the live interactive experience for the premiere. The Cuban Lion, Fireman Lion Cuban on IG. My dear brother will be back talking about the triple header that's coming up in Masquerade on 42nd Street. They're going to do it out in the street. So you'll be on probably for our boxing show there. Thanks, guys, so much.
Thank
support
you, Ray.
The Full
Pleasure
Fungus.
as
Support
always,
my dear
man.
West Coast brothers. Love you guys a lot.